This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the effective fundraising presentation. My name is John Dennison. I am the Black Canyon Lieutenant Governor, or Black Canyon Division Lieutenant Governor.
And my name's Eric Samala, and I'm the District Bulletin Editor. Before we get started, I'd like to say please stay till the end. We've got a few special guests, but let's get started. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. So when we were looking at what content we wanted to talk about on our presentation today, we came across a TED Talk quote. The art of fundraising is not all logic, but it's emotional as well. You know, and I think this is a very important quote when we're talking about fundraising, because you could have all the facts and all the statistics in the world, but if you can't connect to somebody's emotions and their senses, it'd be hard to get support for your fundraiser, whether it's through time, support, or money. You know, so really gear your fundraiser pitch towards somebody's emotions. You know, you really want to get them to imagine what you're talking about, imagine what you're fundraising for. You know, it might be hard if you're doing a fundraiser for DCON or some other events, you know, but try to see if you can get it to their emotions. You know, if you can spring up a memory, that is really important.
Just to tag on to that with an example. So just imagine like you're coming out of a store and then someone approaches you and they're like, "Hey, do you want to donate to our fundraiser?" Most likely you're going to say no. But if they walk up to you and like, talk about what they're fundraising for, what their goals are, and why it matters, you're more likely going to donate to that fundraiser because you kind of have a trust now. Because now when they don't like bring up any like examples or goals or what they're fundraising for, to you, you're just like giving them away your hard-earned money, right? So if you have like a goal, an idea, or you're practically selling them on an idea, right? You're not going around asking for money, right? You're asking them to donate so you can give the money to an organization that can do something, like bringing clean water to people in Africa who need it, something like that. So it's very important to connect to their emotions rather than their logical side.
The slides changed, Nico.
All right. All right. So does that
Is everything all right, Nico?
we're passionate about the fundraiser? So it's very important to take that extra step and do a little more for your fundraiser. The next major concept about fundraising is ambiguity. So when you're fundraising and when you're asking people for donations, you never really know if they're going to donate or not. So it's very important to ask everyone and anyone for donations, because you can't really look at a person and say, oh, they're not going to donate because, so whatever. So it's very important to ask everyone and anyone, even if you don't think they're going to donate. It doesn't hurt to try to ask.
Nico, I think the folks missed the beginning half of your presentation. Could you talk about commitment and dedication again? I'm sorry. I think you were on mute.
Oh. Oh, sorry. Uh, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you now.
All right, so fundraiser is very important to be committed to your fundraiser, because if you don't like actually put in the effort to fundraise, then you're most likely not going to meet the goal you set for your fundraiser. So it's very important to be committed to the fundraiser. An example of that would be like fundraising 3 days out of the week instead of like one, or maybe fundraising during like school hours, during lunch, stuff like that. Just stuff that'll help you reach your goal.
All righty, we good?
Yeah.
Okie dokie. All right. So, and I'd like to talk about two different points: being organized and the local impact. When you're planning your fundraiser, it's important that you set plans to achieve your goal. You know, you're more likely to be successful if you have a plan, if you have a stairways to your goal and your dream. You know, so really consider that. You know, it's important that you have a plan B for your plan A and a plan C for your plan B. You know, sometimes things can go south, you know, but something that's really important that you should consider while coming up with a fundraiser is the local impact. You know, folks are more likely to support a project if it's oriented towards the community. If they can look down the street and they can see it, they're more likely to support it. You know, if you're building a park, if you're building a playground at a park, you know, folks are probably going to support that. It's supporting the community. The morale of the community is going to go up. Kids are going to go play outside. You know, it's wonderful. But you know, in terms of Key Club, at times you could also make fundraisers to support international organizations such as the STIRS. You know, those have indirect community impacts. You know, and when you support your Key Club, the prestige of your Key Club goes up. You know, by supporting thirst, you're building wells in Africa. By supporting UNICEF, you're eliminating neonatal tetanus around the world. You know, really think about how your project can support the community. What are the results? What are the impacts? Those are things that will guarantee the success of your fundraiser. Everything good? Anything to add, Nico?
No, I think that was everything. Okay, so the next concept we want to talk about is your thanks and gratitude. So when you're fundraising, you're going to be talking to a lot of people, most likely. So after you're done talking, you want to say thank you. If they donate, especially if they donate, to say thank you, and even if they don't donate, to say thank you. Because even if they don't donate, they're still giving you some of their time to stop and listen to you. So it's very important to stay thankful for that. I mean, it might not seem like you have to say thank you, but it's still very important. It shows that you're very credible, and it'll build more of a trust with you and the community, or with that individual person. So just saying please and saying thank you shows that you have good character. So maybe they'll donate to you in the future if you're doing any other fundraisers and just so happen to meet the same person. Anything else to add, Eric?
Yeah, and one suggestion: when you finish your fundraiser or your project, be sure to send whoever donated or supported your project a thank you. Send them a nice letter, send them pictures, a portfolio of the results of your project. Even if it wasn't successful, still show them, you know, because if you do it again next year, they'll probably support you again. You know, just keep them in mind. So, the next part of our presentation, we'd like to talk about some types of fundraisers that you folks can do, or some organizations that you can support. But before we get on to this part of our presentation, we'd like to open it up to the floor and if you folks have fundraisers that you'd like to make public, please feel free to do so. We'd love to hear what you guys have in mind. There's a lot of ways to fundraise, and we'd love to hear it. Oh, and if you'd like to tell us how, feel free to unmute yourself or just type it in the chat. Yeah, absolutely. Selling root beer floats at games. Who doesn't love a nice root beer, a nice cold drink, ice cream, and Coca-Cola? Wonderful. Games, absolutely. Could you elaborate on that more, Erica?
Sort of like a game night where like you play a bunch of board games. Oh yeah, raffle tickets. Yeah, those definitely sell well.
Great. Game night. Oh, goody. Anybody else? If not, we'll move on. But it's anything else, folks? Going once, going twice. Oh, goody. Thank you, Olivia, for all those. Thank you, Darren. Dress down days at schools. What's a dress down day? Car washes, selling flowers during prom week, selling chocolate, people pieing teachers in the face. Okay, decorative keys on keychains. We don't make keys, but we do open doors for you. Wonderful. Karaoke, absolutely.
Ooh.
It'd be nice if we had a virtual DCON karaoke workshop. Okay. Thank you for laughing with me. A dog wash, absolutely. I'm sure you'll find somebody that loves dogs in your club.
Oh yeah, sounds like fun.
Yeah. Oh, a car wash, absolutely. Oh, car shows.
Oh, actually, that sounds really fun, actually.
Yeah, who doesn't love a good car show on a nice Saturday morning? Oh, car smashes, those are fun. Yeah, make sure you're wearing protective gear too. Bake sale. Yes, bake sale. We'll talk about that soon, but yes, bake sale. Okay. Anything else, folks? Oh, an art auction. Wow,
Ooh.
interesting. I love art myself, but yeah, absolutely. All right. Oh, movie nights. Oh, goody. Anything else, folks? We face paint. Oh, good. Percent nights at restaurants. Yes, absolutely, Maya. We will talk about that. It's like some of you folks have seen our presentation. Okie dokie. Okay. Are we good? Shall we move on? Oh. Oh yeah, those fundraisers where you sell stuff like chocolate. Yeah, or scripts. Okay. Let's move on. All right. Well, thank you. If you still have more things to talk about, feel free to put them in the chat. But thank you to all that contributed. Let's get on with our first fundraiser. Ooh, 69. Thank you, folks. Oh, 59. 59.
All right, so our first fundraising idea is the Governor's Project. This year, as many of you probably already know, our Governor's Project was on Thorn. The Governor's Project is a really good project to fundraise if you don't have any other ideas, or if you want to fundraise for the Governor's Project. I know that you get a ribbon if you fundraise money for the Governor's Project, so that's also another bonus. Another benefit of this is that you're not fundraising alone. You're fundraising with all of the Southwest District. They're all fundraising to meet the same goal, and it's very motivating to see like how much you fundraise together. So it's definitely a good project to fundraise for.
And we have a special guest on the line. We have quite a few special guests.
Oh yeah.
Governor Ella Erickson, would you like to say anything about Thorn?
Sure. And if you want to hear more, you can always come to my Governor's Project workshop after House of Delegates. I do really want to say thank you to everybody who participated in it and who fundraised for Thorn. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to a lot of other people. So I appreciate you all so much.
Okie dokie. Now, the next slide is something I've been looking forward to. So the Youth Opportunities Fund is a grant that Key Club International provides to clubs around the world. It ranges from $100 to $2,000, and the money goes towards projects that you folks host, but I don't think I should be the one talking about it. We have two folks that are very qualified. They got $2,000 in full from the Youth Opportunities Fund. It is my honor to present Jamie Craig and Ian Petro to talk about the Youth Opportunities Fund. Yeah, feel free to unmute yourselves, folks.
Oh my gosh, Eric, you're so sweet. Hi, my name is Jamie, and I'm the president at the Paradise Honors High School Key Club.
Hi guys, I'm Ian. I'm the vice president at Paradise Honors Key Club. And I think how this is going to work is I'm going to give some background on our project itself, and then Jamie's going to go a little more into actual tips to be successful in the application process. So first, some background on the City of Surprise. A couple months ago, they decided to basically end recycling throughout the entire city. And during this time, our club was really invested in this issue and wanted to figure out like what we could do to, I don't know, maybe make a statement or just find a way to like reduce the amount of waste our PHHS campus was producing itself. And so we came up with the idea. It kind of goes into two parts. One, we wanted to provide reusable water bottles to the entire incoming freshman class. And then we wanted to put bottle filling stations, which you can see is the middle object on this slide, in each one of the school's buildings. And so we first heard about the YOF fund, I believe, at DCON. And when we came up with this idea, we were like, oh, this is like perfect because we already have some bottle filling stations in our school, and we had enough funds ourselves to provide some, but we still needed like the extra amount of finances to make sure that we could get all the bottles for the upcoming freshmen and install the rest of the bottle filling station. So we already had like some of the groundwork done. And I believe that is it for the background portion.
Yeah, so in terms of actually planning our project, we took about a month in advance from the actual due date. And I know a lot of when you're planning an event or if you're planning some type of fundraiser, you hear a lot of you need to organize. Well, you really do. It's organize, 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 especially when it comes to the YLF fund. Everything that we planned out, we basically had a step-by-step on how we're going to get every part of our our event done, and how we were going to get that, where we were going to get funds, and just like our participation as well as where their money was going to go. So especially when you're doing the YOF application, making sure that you have every single step planned out, basically to a T, so that when they are looking over your application, they know exactly where you're going to be using the money. My next tip would be obviously like starting ahead. Like I said, we started around a month in advance, and when I say we plan everything to a T, that's literally how long it took. For some other projects that you do, like according to your school and your community, that can take a longer time, or that might take a shorter time depending on your actual event and project. I want to go back to when Eric and Nico were talking about dedication and passion. You really have to be dedicated to your project, because when you plan it, you don't want to miss any step or overlook anything, because you just didn't know enough about something, if that makes sense. So making sure that you know every single part of how you're going to do it is really, really important.
And if I could just add, really emphasizing the timeline aspect to the application process, because they really want to see that not only that you've already done some of the groundwork, but that you have a plan for how you're gonna to make sure all the money is like allocated properly. So yeah, really make sure you have things planned out, and it'll increase your chances of getting the fund. And did we forget to talk about the Thirst project?
So, for our project, what we did to help make our project more reasonable, and more manageable, especially for our club, because we are a relatively new club, we're about 4 years old, so we didn't really have the grounding or the understanding. For a few of our meetings, we paired up with the Thirst Project, and they kind of gave us more inspiration on how to actually tackle this problem, and really motivate our members to partake in this as well, getting them excited for what we do on campus and how it affects them, making it really personable with our members, but also really reasonable and purposeful when we turn in our YOF application. It's all about like, what ideas do you have, why do you have it, and are you going to be able to actually maintain the project and get the project done. So we put Thirst Project up there because they were actually our inspiration and helped us kind of get our project off the ground.
And another factor I think that contributed to our success was like our ambition and longevity almost, because we have no plans of stopping with just like this incoming freshman class. We want to be able to give each incoming freshman class like reusable water bottles. So like eventually the whole school will have one, and there will be like no need to, bring in any more plastic water bottles, and really help like reduce our impact on the environment.
Right. And in terms of the actual application itself, in terms of like your timeline of finishing it, we actually came in over the break. I believe it was summer break, if I'm not mistaken, but we kind of took it in pieces. So one day, like me and Ian would come in, and then we would have our secretary and our treasurer there, just making sure that our board knew as much as the project as possible. So making sure that every single part of your team who's working on the YOF application knows exactly like what steps you guys are taking, as well as our amazing advisor, Mr. Otten. He was super helpful in it. So just making sure that you're using all of your resources around you and keeping yourself to a strict timeline is really, really going to help. And I think that's all we have for our experience and tips. So thank you guys.
Thank you for talking today. Thank you so much. Do you folks have any questions about the Youth Opportunities Fund? Oh, you folks have a few questions. How big is Paradise Club? Is the Paradise Club?
In the beginning of the year, we had around 158 people interested. We have around 68 paid members.
Yep.
Any questions on the? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, all good. If you guys have any like other questions that maybe you don't think of now, you can always reach out to us, and we're always willing to like help others out and give advice.
And the Southwest District will be promoting the Youth Opportunities Fund heavily the next year as well. So be tuned, and we'll be sending out resources, because it's a really great opportunity for all clubs. After all, it's free money. All you got to do is meet Key Club in the middle and fill out the paperwork and have a plan. So I guess if there's nothing else, we'll head on to the next slide. But thank you so much, Paradise Honors High School, for coming on down and talking about your experience with the Youth Opportunities Fund. Okie dokie. So originally we were going to have Maya Taylor talk about this, but we can talk about the car wash. So this is another idea on what you folks could do. It makes a nice social mixer. You can get your club involved and have them wash cars. They won't do chores at home, but they'll be sure to do volunteer opportunities outside of school. So with this, try to partner up with an organization or a car wash company. Maybe they'll support you in this endeavor. But it's really fun. Who doesn't like to get wet on a nice hot day? Nico's having a bit of trouble, so I'll take over the bake sale. But you're in.
So
Oh,
the bake
good.
sale is a really good the bake sale is a really good fundraiser because you could do this during lunch. I don't know what the rules are with your school. I don't know if they have any like regulations on whether you can bake them at home or not. So I check in with your individual schools to see if it's okay to at home or if you have to buy them from the store. Fundraiser to do because you could do it during lunch, like at school. I'm sure a lot of students don't really like the school food, so maybe you'll grab like a cupcake or like a donut or something from your little bake sale. So it's a really good fundraiser to do to make a little bit of money if like your club needs funds for a project or something like that. But the only thing is you have to pay for the goods first. So, or you can do it like outside of, you can also there. But your mileage may vary on this type of fundraiser. I recommend it mostly for school because in other places, I don't think too many people will buy the baked goods. So I recommend doing that at school. Do you have anything else to add, Eric?
No, thank you. Great. Let's get on to the next one. So here's one that you folks might have seen. Fast food fundraisers. It's good to partner up with a local fast food chain. It's nice to connect with the community, and this is a great way to do it. You'll get money from the fundraiser, and they'll also get publicity from it. I think hopefully it's self-explanatory. All you got to do is contact their manager, and I'm sure the managers are very receptive in doing this. Anything to add on this, Nico?
The only thing I want to say is that like if the fundraiser goes well, you'll definitely build trust with local businesses, or not trust, but like they'll be more willing to do more fundraisers with you in the future. It's definitely very low cost. You're pretty much just advertising for this business, and it's a really good way to make money if you're maybe low on funds, need something for your service project if you have something bigger. So it's definitely a good fundraiser to do.
All righty, yeah, we'll get to the next one. Penny Wars.
All right, so do you want to talk about it or do you want me to talk about it?
You could talk about it. I'll respond to some of the messages in the chat.
Oh, okay. So Penny Wars is definitely a really good fundraiser to do. I know Eric told me that for like the highest or the club that raised the most money got like I think it was a pizza party, right? So that's definitely an incentive you can give to club or classes. Yeah, so it's definitely a good incentive to give the classes to get them to participate more in the fundraising. Maybe have like a runner-up party or something. Maybe like give them donuts or like ring pops. I don't know. It's just a really good fundraiser to do because this whole school is involved, and there probably isn't really that much of a cost. All you really need to do is collect the money and then raise awareness about it so people actually know to fundraise for it. And it shouldn't really be a problem for the students, as most people don't really use change, so they'll probably be willing to part ways with it. So it's a really good fundraiser to do.
All righty. So we're getting very close to time. But I'd like to thank you all for attending. Please follow our Instagram, SWDKCI. But thank you once again. We hit a record today with 60 folks attending the workshop. Thank you so much. Any questions, folks? Any questions at all? Going once, going twice. Oh, thank you, Ian. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Akari. Thank you, Jules, Jenna, Livia.
Yep.
Mr.
Thank you, everybody.
Erica, Trevor. Thank you for talking, Jamie. But if you folks don't have any questions, could you briefly discuss the governor's project, please? Okie dokie, Miranda. So, if is there anything specific you wanted me to talk about, Miranda, or Ella could talk? Ella is doing a presentation after House of Delegates, so if you're interested, she'll talk more about that, but I could give you a teaser. Every year the governor does a project. They choose a charity, and clubs are expected to support the charity. This year's charity was Thorn. It's a charity against child sex trafficking. But let's see. All righty. Oh, don't forget to join House of Delegates, folks. It's at 4 o'clock New Mexico time, 3 o'clock Arizona time. It's coming up soon, in 29 minutes.